And welcome back to our Raging Loop playthrough. Last time we stopped right here at this exact phrasing. Hopefully I won't have to just shut the stream off. I'll put my, I'll set myself up real quick if I see something, anything really bad. Alright, so Chiemi asked us the question, and she answered, "It's like a porn manga. Congratulations, now bring it on." Hold up.
迷った先で好都合な展開というのは物語上明らかに後々ガクッと落とすための前振りである。
Got no Wilhelm equivalent? Wait, we might need something. Give me a second here. Give me a second. Unprepared streamer. Let's see. Let's see if I can find something real good. All right, so if there's something really bad, we'll have this. I think that works out pretty well. Hold up, I know how this story goes. People who get lost and stumble upon something good never end up well.
確かに狐に化かされたとか亡霊つまり私にたたり殺されたりとかシャレにならない病気移されたりとか
It's true. You could be getting tricked by a fox. I might be a ghost out to curse you to death. Or you're about to catch some bad disease. Why would you have a bad disease? You know what? I'm not even gonna... Let's get the honey lozenge ready.
そうそう。
Exactly.
テレレレレテレレレレテレレレレテテレレレレさあ世にも奇妙な扉を開こうぜ
Now come! Let's open this path and see where it goes.
やめとく。
Nope.
か
Oh no. Anyway, this girl was actually pretty sharp. She really had a way with words and knew how to capitalize on it. So does she have brain damage? Yes. It almost felt like she was implying that I couldn't let my guard down just because I was a guy. I admitted she was pretty darn attractive, but I felt like I'd have more fun just talking about loot stuff than acting on it. $5.12. Mon. The last thing I remembered was our little... When was the last time you pissed yourself while sleeping talk? I had to tell her about the time I got so drunk I wet my pants in the middle of the boarding house. She laughed so hard, she started frothing at the mouth and passed out. I just noticed something. Yeah. There we go. Thanks, guys, for letting me know. I woke up with a splitting headache. Oh, man. Morning already. Light poured in through the frosted window. Why would we read? You're reading for us. I know, but sometimes, you know, people want to read prior to when I'm reading. I don't know. I pulled out my phone and checked the time. 7 in the morning. Getting up at 7? Oh my god. I'd gone to sleep somewhere between 2 and 3, which probably wasn't quite enough sleep. Nope. At least I didn't wake up to some horror movie scene. The building wasn't in ruins and the girl wasn't actually a skeleton. Though in a way, this might have been worse. Ugh. She was spread out on the floor on the other side of the mini table. Her breathing was mixed in with some weird gurgling sound. I hesitantly looked at her. The saint that saved me from hell, from the hell I was in last night, had puked in the middle of her sleep. What was I supposed to do here? Get myself ready. As a guest, I couldn't really be too harsh on her.
ちえみちゃん
Phew.
She wasn't waking up. Well, I'd just do what little I could. There, that should be good enough. I used tons of toilet paper to clean up her mess and flush it down the toilet. It left a stain on the floor, but it was dirty to begin with, so whatever. I'd even wet a towel and cleaned her face. Even then, she showed no signs of waking up. Some of it was on her hair and clothes, but I figured it was best if she took care of that herself.
ちえみちゃん
Asa?
Morning. The first hint of consciousness so far
ちょっ
today.
と出ておくから
I'll be leaving for a bit. Without waiting for a response, I walked to the entrance. You'd have to take a shower and change and all that, so I'd kill time outside. I stepped into my still damp shoes with my bare feet. My socks were in the washing machine with the towel she gave me to wipe my legs, and reached for the doorknob. I opened the door and was greeted by a gust of wind. The raindrops gathered on the leaves of the tree next to the building. The raindrop gathered on the leaves of the tree next to the building flew right into my face, making me grimace. The rain from last night was already over. The sky was pretty clear, but despite that, I noticed the visibility of my surroundings was poor. Where's my porn you promised? What porn? What are you talking about? I said we're gonna have some raging loop. The building was surrounded by leaves. The old structure was basically buried in a forest of trees, about as tall as itself. There were branches poking into the exposed hallway. It almost felt like they'd reach out and grab me if I wasn't careful. I kind of felt like I was in an overgrown ruin. Turned around and saw the room and Chiemi just as I left them. Yep, it was all real. Closed the door. There were other rooms in this building, which made me wonder if they were occupied. Hell, I wondered the same thing about the area in general. I pushed the branches aside to see if there were other buildings nearby. Suddenly, something entered my vision. It didn't feel right. Something that shouldn't have been there. The leaves I moved revealed a woman clad in curious clothing. The moment I recognized her as such, she opened her closed eyes. Did our eyes meet? Another strong wind. I shielded my face from the spray of raindrops. When I looked outside again, the woman was nowhere in sight. Was that an illusion? If not, then what? What kind of place was this? It could have been a real Hicksville, a marginal village, a bunch of actual ruins, or an illegal settlement. I had some theories, but I set them aside for now. It seemed like a place worth exploring regardless. I went down the stairs and found no sign of the woman, or anyone else, for that matter. A short distance away from the building, I turned around, and sure enough, it was pretty much covered in trees. I went to the place where I saw the woman. There were footprints in the grass here. Maybe I'd find her if I followed them. They led me to an open area. It was unused, but it looked like someone was trying to do something with it. Was it supposed to be a construction site? Even if it was clearly abandoned. There were large rocks and lots of sediment near a prefab. From what I could tell, there had been a giant landslide which forced them to stop construction. The fact that plant growth was still minimal meant that it happened fairly recently. The footprints seemed to be going down the hill next to the site. Following them, I finally saw something that could be called civilization. There was a set of paddy fields with houses nearby. So this actually was a settlement. What a relief! I decided to keep following the footprints and approached the settlement. I came across another unpaved path that was clearly used by people and cars. It was lined with weeds and bushes reaching up to my waist. It was home to caterpillars and grasshoppers, among other things. Spiders were no exception. There was no shortage of insects here. So it was a good place for a net. I wasn't particularly scared of spiders, but I didn't like them. At least they were just harmless orb weavers. Orb weavers? Regardless, I avoided these bushes just in case and followed the path like the good city boy I was. There was a large boulder surrounded by grass. It was strangely tall, making it look like it was put there by people. On its dewy surface, there was a gray tree frog, ready to go after the many insects scattered about. Orb weaver spiders are members of the spider family Arrandiae. They are the most common group of builders of spiral wheel-shaped webs often found in gardens, fields, and forests. The English word orb can mean circular. Oh, okay. I thought an actual orb. I walked a bit further and came across a house with a small field nearby. The field's location made it safe to assume it belonged to the inhabitants. Like a loop. We Orban. If there were inhabitants, anyway, I couldn't see anyone. And just like always, there was grass everywhere. There was another boulder standing next to the house. This one was obviously placed there by human hand. What was the point? Was it a monument or something? The footprints continued into the field. The wet mud on the field was full of small, young, but healthy-looking rice plants. If you ignored the standing boulders in the area, the place looked like a normal farming village. I was both relieved and worried at the same time. From what I saw, there weren't any other buildings besides the ones in this settlement. Everything beyond was just mountains, meaning that this place was completely isolated. And I was a complete outsider. There was no way things would go well if I ran into a random local. I belatedly crouched to hide myself a bit. It was probably best for me to go back. Chiemi might be looking for me. Suddenly, I heard a sound. Esther. Where's everyone going? Bingo. I looked for its source and found a speaker on a wooden utility pole in the middle of a small plaza. A morning broadcast? I'd never heard this tune before. It was cheerful at first, but it had some parts that seemed really dark. I found it unsettling. Perplexed, I stopped walking, and what happened next made me hide myself. There was a person in the area densely surrounded by houses, but they weren't normal. What was that appearance? What was that on her face? Though I was a fair distance away, I could see an old woman with some sort of cloth over her face shakily walk out from between the buildings. Oddly enough, there were boulders even there, but even weirder was the fact that she walked up to one of them, lightly joined her hands, and bowed her head before it, her face still hidden. Then all was silence. It actually looked like she was revering it. To me, it looked like she was praying to it. This was bad, really bad. I wandered into a settlement with a unique culture, to put it lightly. Forget causing trouble. An outsider like me could get killed here. I just turned around, ran for it. I dashed up the hill, past the house, through the construction site, until I arrived back at the apartment building. Chiemi looked like a relatively reasonable person. Maybe she could tell me what was up. It just hit me that the way she described this place was somewhat weird. She basically said it wasn't normal.
あるいは、ちえみちゃんが恐るべき殺人鬼で、僕を酔っ払わせてぶっ殺す。
Or maybe you're a serial killer who brought me here just to get me drunk and kill me.
はあ、ヤマンバ。いいね。ブッシュブッシュ殺しちゃう。
Whoa, so I'm some evil mountain witch now. Sounds great. I'll kill you real good. Splosh, splosh. No way. What if she was actually the bait they used to lure outsiders here? Eventually, the broadcast stopped. Chiemi still hadn't come out of her room. She didn't respond even when I knocked or called out to her. I didn't have to worry about this, right? That just made my inexplicable unease grow worse. What if this was a trap? Was I in a dangerous situation? I had to talk to her. If she was a normal person anyway. Maybe my best option was to run away right now. I wouldn't know where to run. I couldn't remember the path we'd taken here. Though I was pretty sure we went uphill. So maybe I had to go down? If I avoided the settlement and went back to the mountain stream, I could escape by following the wild roads. That was my best option, even with the difficulties considered. Thankfully, I'd taken my bag with me. I took out a 5,000 yen note and put it in Chiemi's newspaper box. It was payment for last night's beer. The moment I turned around to take my leave, the door to the room next to the staircase opened slightly with a creak. I saw an eye glaring at me through the gap. Wah! Her high-pitched scream pierced my eardrums. I screamed too, scared shitless, and ran for it. Suddenly, I stepped into the wet hallway floor at a bad angle. I fell. Thud, thud, thud.
Haru-chan! どうした?
Haru-chan, what's wrong?
ああ、誰このおっちゃん。
Who is this old guy?
あなた、誰ですか?
Who are you?
っていうか、大丈夫ですか?
And are you all right? A reasonable sounding voice prompted me to shake off the pain and raise my head. There were two boys in formal looking school uniforms.
大丈夫ですか?
Are you all right? He repeated the question.
ああ、ちょっと驚いただけで。
Yeah, I was just startled.
おっちゃん、ちえねえの友達？
You friends with Chie Ni? Chie Ni?
ああ、ちえみちゃんのことか。
I mean Chiemi.
大学のお知り合いですか？お知り合いが来るなんて聞いてなかった。
Are you friends with her from college? She didn't tell us anyone was visiting.
いや、いろいろあって助けられたんだ。怪しいものじゃないんだ。怪しく見えるだろうけど。
Is this Green Naoto? Yes. Oh, I just got into some trouble and she helped me out. There's nothing shady about me, though I know that's hard to believe.
怪しいな、おっちゃん。
It really is, old man. Wasn't he 25?
どうすればいいのかな。と
Um,
りあえず、名前は久石春明と言います。
how do I handle this? Anyways, my name is Haruaki Fusaishi. Fusaishi.
僕は織部安永です。こっちは鴨志田近持。
I'm Yasunaga Oribe, and this is Shikamochi Kamoshida.
モッチーだ。
This mochi is fine. Just like that monster from Digimon? No, Monster Rancher. Good to know. If I called him that, maybe he'd stop calling me old man. I was only 24.
それでこっちが。春ちゃん何してんの？
And this is Haru. What are you doing?
だって知らない人が。
We don't know him. Apparently, this Haru was the person who looked at me through the gap at the door and
と
screamed.
りあえず大丈夫そうだから
He,
出ておいでよ。
he seems safe. Come out. A moment later, she slammed the door shut. After a few more moments of hesitation, opened it again. Whoa. She looked like a student too, except her fashion sense was exceptionally flashy.
あなた誰ですか？
Who are you?
久石春明と言って、この近くでバイクで事故って、芹沢千恵美さんに助けられたんだ。
My name's Haruaki Fusaishi. I crashed my motorbike nearby and Chiemi Serizawa helped me out.
それってもしかして昨日の夜ちえねえの部屋に。
Wait, are you saying you spent the night in her room?
うん、止めてもらった。
Yeah, I d- Yeah.
通りで騒がしかったと思った。何考えてるの？嫁入り前の女性の家に不潔。
So that's why it was so noisy. What were you thinking? You're not supposed to enter an unmarried girl's room. It's indecent.
ああ、うん。それはその通りで、僕もちょっと躊躇はしたんだけど、千恵美ちゃんが親切で。
Enter her room. Haru. She looks like she's 12. Yeah, I was hesitant too, but Chiemi was kind enough to let me in.
ちえみちゃん？あれなれしい。それじゃあもしかしてちえねえが出てこないのって。
Why are you acting like you've known her your whole life? Wait, she's not getting out. Don't tell me you.
ドアに5000円挟んであるじゃ。
There's a 5,000 yen note in the door. Kia!
久石さんまさか。
Don't tell me you.
違う。単に昨日お酒をおごられたから、そのお返しで。
No. She gave me a lot of booze. I'm paying back for that.
ちえねえの体が5000円ってそんな安いわけないでしょ？
Chieni's body is worth more than that. Why are we playing porn games?
ただれてるな。
How dissolute. The hell were these kids saying?
ああ、君、
Hey,
助けてくれないか？
why are we talking to these people? Hey, can you help me out?
初対面で女性の部屋でお酒を飲んだんですか？
You drank with the girl you
そ
just
して
met,
ちえねえは出てこない。
and she's not coming out. Crap, I had no allies here.
一体何事？
What's going on out here? So the subject of the conversation joined in.
おお、千恵美ちゃん、君からも事情を説明。
Are we going to YouTube yet? Soon. Something was off about her aura. What happened to the lively girl she's been yesterday?
シエネまさか
Chieni, did you?
恥ずかしいとこを見られちゃった。
Man, this is embarrassing.
おお
Whoa.
いやちょっと待ってちょっと
Wait, hold on, stop.
もう嫁いけない。
I can't be a bride anymore. Kia! Man, what a mess. Though Chiemi's face was all pale, she was actually grinning. She obviously had a bad hangover, but that didn't stop her from messing around. After calming everyone down, Chiemi explained what actually happened. How we met in the middle of the night, how she let me stay out of goodwill, how we drank ourselves silly, and how nothing happened between us.
いやー、久々に深酒しちゃって思いっきり入っちゃったよ。春明さん、お見苦しいとこ申し訳ない。
Lucky, add that Kia sound to your soundboard. No. Sorry, not happening. Man, it's been so long since I drank that much. I guess I wasn't prepared for it and puked it out. Sorry you had to see that. Haruaki?
ああいやそれはいいんだけど
Hey, I don't mind it. That Haru-chan girl still looked at me funny.
非常識。
Absurd.
ああ申し訳ない昨日は本当に疲労困憊でね
Do
つい
Japanese
行為に
women
甘えてしまったんだ
actually Kia in real life? All the time, man. All the time. Anyways, sorry, I was so tired yesterday, I couldn't refuse her kindness.
まあ知恵ねえだしな。雑把だよな。
Well, this is Chieni we're talking about. She does whatever she wants.
事情も事情だし年寄りたちも納得するかな。
Since Jake told the Yada story, I'm willing to believe. I don't know what that story is. Do I need to find out? He's got good reasons for being here. So maybe the elders will understand?
ちなみに会ったのってどこです？
Where'd you find him anyways?
それはね。
Well,
下の方の河原だよ
next to the river further down. My words made everyone change their expression.
それはちょっと
That's a bit
大騒ぎだ。
a big deal.
2日連続で2人もだなんて。
Two people over just 2 days.
もしかしてまずいこと言った
Did I say something bad?
はあ、まあいずれバレることよ。さっきあれだけ大騒ぎしちゃったから休みず中に知れちゃったろうし。
It was gonna get out sooner or later. We made quite a scene, so I wouldn't be surprised if everyone in Yasumisu already knows.
君2日連続で2人もって何のこと
What do you mean by 2 people over 2 days?
触らないで。汚い。
Don't touch me, you're filthy. She's talking to you, chat. Don't. Bong? I wasn't trying to touch her, and it wasn't filthy. Sure, I hadn't had a bath in over a day, but still.
君何が騒ぎになるの
Hey, you, why is it a big deal?
タエバあたりが拒否ってなる。
Taiba's gonna go ee? Wow, that sure sounded bad.
詳しい話を聞かせてくれない
Can you tell me more?
ちょっと説明は難しいんですけど、まあここは田舎なんで町といろいろ違うってことですよ。
It's a bit complicated. For now, just keep in mind that this is the countryside. Things are different here than in the city. This guy here was Uribe. Ignore Chiemi, and he was the easiest person to talk to.
どうすればいいかな
What should I do? Jake, during his trip to Japan, became witness to a small Japanese girl engage in gambling by the usage of a gacha machine dispensing toys. During this observation, the girl in question won something she liked, jumped up with her fist in the air, shouting "Yatta!" That made DDR Jake realize anime was real. That's true. It's very true.
まあちえみがなんとかしましょう。学生諸君はとりあえずご飯行かないと。
Just leave it to me, alright? And it's time for students to eat, isn't it?
この混乱には乗るっきゃない。
But I want to see where this mess goes.
乗るっきゃなくないもっち。とりあえず行っちゃいな。私らちょっと遅れていくから。
No, you don't. Just go already. We'll catch up.
まあちょっと時間ずらした方がいいよね。揉めそうだし。
Well, I guess it's best to go separately. There's probably going to be some disagreements.
さすがやすくん、察しがいいぞ。ごめんけど二人のお守りよろしくね。
Yeah, I knew you'd understand, Yasu. Take care of them for me, alright? Sure.
もう知恵ね、子供扱いはやめてよ。
Stop treating me like a child. You are!
そうだ、うんこしてやるぞ。
Yeah, I swear I'll poop on you. What?
ほらほら行くぞ、モッチーにハルちゃん。
Let's just get going, you two. What the hell? And so the students walked off towards the stairs. It was kind of easy to tell what sort of relationship they had. Anyway,
彼らがこの建物の他の住人？
so they live in this building
そういう
too.
こと。学生寮だからね、ここ。
Yep, this is a student dorm, you know? Is this a fan translation? No, this is an official translation. This is the game from Steam. Yeah, it's a student dorm, you know? Student dorm in this Hicksville? Still, my senses had betrayed me. There were actually other people here.
ちなみに春明さん、他の人と出会ってトラブったりしてないよね。
By the way, you didn't run into anyone else and get in trouble, right?
うん。一応それ警戒してたから。
Yeah, I was careful on that front.
ならよかった。よし、ちょっとしたら食堂に行きましょう。
Good, let's get ready to go to the dining hall.
朝食？
Oh, for breakfast?
の、朝食は今から食べてください。
Nope.
食堂へは一応面通しをしに行くの。
Eat your breakfast now. We're going to the dining hall to introduce you.
誰と？
To who?
よそ者が皿長からやってきたってことに文句を言いそうな人たち。
To whoever has a problem with an outsider coming from Saranaga. Oh, so like that Taiba person, huh?
お世話になります。
I'm in your hands then.
いいってことです。その代わり、朝のことは秘密で。
It's fine if you're that grateful. Keep what happened this morning a secret.
そりゃもちろん。ところで、皿長って何？あの河原？
Sure thing. What's Saranaga anyways? The river?
そう、皿長の瀬っていう川だけど、あの辺まとめて皿長って呼ぶの。ちょっと曰くのある場所でね。
Yep, the river's called Saranaga Rapids, but the area around it is called Saranaga. The place has some cultural significance.
いわく。
It does.
うん。あの川は汚れていて、死人が帰ってくるみたいな伝説がね。
Yep, they say it's a corrupt place where the dead return from the other side. Oh. So that's why they reacted like that.
他にもその手のルールというか、しきたりみたいなのが？
Any other rules or customs I should be aware
た
of?
くさんあります。なので基本、ちえみちゃんにお任せを。
Oh, there's lots, so just leave everything to me, alright? Are you really dead? Maybe, I don't know. Gladly, on all
ち
fronts.
なみに、身の危険とかは？
If I may ask, am I in danger?
ないない。でも、いろいろ不愉快な思いをする前に、早く出ていけた方がいいかも。
Nope, but you should try to escape before something unpleasant happens to you.
そのための根回しに行くと。
And you're gonna lay the groundwork for that, huh?
そうそう。
Yep. The settlement I strayed to was a weird place, but at least the guide was reliable. She wanted me to leave ASAP, huh? That was depressing. Chiemi gave me some cup ramen for breakfast. She boiled the water in a small electric kettle. The girl herself was too hungover to eat anything. I did take the opportunity to pay her back for last night's drinks in person, though. And we made our way to the dining hall.
この岩って何なの？
What are these boulders?
一応お守りみたいなもの？昔からあるよ。
They're like charms, I guess. They've been here forever.
よそでは見たことないよ。
I've never seen anything like them anywhere else.
ああ、言われたらそうかも。
Oh yeah, I guess they're kind of unique to this area. She led me along a narrower path than I followed earlier. It didn't seem like any cars used this one. It was very farmy, I guess. This area was also littered with those boulders. Some were cracked, broken, or half buried in the fields. They were clearly religious symbols, but it didn't look like they were that important these days. Or were they? Now that I knew I was safe, I once again became curious about the place.
人だ。
Oh, there's a person. He was working on the field.
たくみ兄ちゃんだ。おはよ
That's Takumi Nichan. Morning! Shiemi waved her hand. The man responded, but froze
う。
mid-wave.
じゃあ行きましょう。
Let's go.
いいの？多分あの人、僕の存在に驚いたんじゃ。
Are you sure we should? The guy looked pretty surprised to see me.
大丈夫。どうせ後で食堂に来るから、説明はその時にするってことで。
Don't worry, he'll be at the dining hall soon. We'll explain things then. Well, if she said so. As an outsider, I had no choice but to rely on her. This was the part of the village I saw this morning, where the buildings were more densely packed. I didn't notice it back then, but it was actually kind of weird. Basically, it felt desolate. The wooden bungalows in particular were more or less overgrown and buried in tall grass and other greenery. If this was all I saw of the village and someone told me it was abandoned, I'd have easily believed them. Meat's back on the menu. You think we're gonna get dined on? However, two of the buildings stood out. There was a hall right beyond the hill. It wasn't that big, but it looked grand and well maintained. Did he stumble into a RimWorld playthrough? Yes. Just got out of his escape pod. The other building was obviously the dining hall. It looked a bit dirty, but I could tell there were people inside. From what I could tell, it was the most lively place in this poor excuse for a community. Suddenly, the three students walked out chatting about something.
あ、知恵ね。と、夫妻さん。
Ah, Chieni and Fusaishi.
再度おはよう。ちょっと遅くない？
Morning again, aren't you late?
モッチーがバカなことばっか言って遅くなっちゃったんだもん。
We took forever because Mochi doesn't stop saying nonsense.
そうだ、僕が悪だ。味噌汁をよこせ。
Yes, I am evil. Give me miso soup.
まあ早足なら間に合うでしょう。みんなしっかり勉強しといで。
Oh, you'll make it if you hurry. Behave in class, you guys. Remember when we streamed RimWorld? No, I don't remember that. Half dashing, the three ran up the path we
み
came
んな
from.
高校生なんだ。
They're all in high school, huh?
そう。山をぐーっと登ったところに分校があるんだ。
Yep, there's a branch.
私も3年前まで通ってたな。
Yep, there's a branch school all the way up the mountain. I was going there myself 3 years
や
ago.
たら不便だね。
Sounds like a hassle.
それでもみんなあの寮に住める分優遇されてるんだけど。
It's not all that bad. At least we get to live in that dorm. Chiemi was entirely straight-faced. There wasn't even a hint of a smile.
さあ、気合を入れて入りましょう。
All right, let's get psyched.
そうしましょう。
Yeah,
気合入んない。
I'm not convinced. We laughed a little and passed the curtain.
いらっしゃい。あら、
Welcome. Oh, The inside was as aged as the outside, but looked well maintained.
ちえみちゃん、お客さん？
Is he a visitor, Chiemi? The hostess-looking lady asked. Though somewhat aged and fatigued, she was definitely beautiful. There were two others beside her. One was a lady in her 70s or 80s. She was probably the one I saw this morning. The silhouette matched. The other was a man who seemed a bit younger than her, probably in his late 60s. Though they were just sitting there, there was a menacing aura about them.
紹介するね。房石春明さん。昨日の晩、皿長で迷ってたのを、ちえみが保護しました。
I'll introduce him. This is Haruaki Fusaishi. I found him at Saranaga last night and took him into my care. The reactions were powerful. Is that what people look like in their 60s? Yeah, all ripped. The lady gasped, while the two elders rose to their feet with alarm. The tension that was already there the moment I walked in reached its peak.
気にするのもわかるけど、これは単なる偶然です。
I know you're concerned, but this is just a coincidence.
あの子と違って、この人は素性が明らかだし、バイクで旧道に突っ込んで事故ったって非常に気の毒な事情もある。
Unlike that little girl, he knows exactly where he came from. He went on an old path with his bike and crashed. It's actually pretty sad.
そんなわけで、我々としてはこの人がちゃんと帰れるように手伝ってあげるのがいいとちえみは思います。
That's why I think we should help him leave.
どうですか？
What do you
皆
think?
様方。
After saying all that, Chiemi fell silent. The ball was in their court now.
まあ、それは大変。
Now that is troubling. The lady voiced a harmless opinion. Careful not to upset the old people, it was pretty clear who was in charge. They were the elders in more ways than one. Oh, hey there, Sombra. Thanks for that. Much appreciated.
ちいちゃんはなんで夜に皿長なんぞ言っとったかね。
Chi-chan, why did you even go to Saranaga at night?
虫の知らせかな。前の日にあんなことあったし、眠れなかったから。
I had a hunch, I guess. You know what happened. I couldn't fall asleep.
それじゃあやっぱり読み人じゃないんかね。
Then he's gotta be a Yomibito.
やめ、タイバ。
What's Taiba? From the conversation, it was pretty clear that something had happened before I arrived here. It's probably similar to what happened to me. She mentioned some little girl. Perhaps there was a child who wandered here like I did. According to Chiemi, the Saranaga Rapids were a place of significance around here. It was a place from which dead people came to life or whatever. So this Tay must be the E lady that the boy mentioned, and the Yomibito must be a term for the dead who came from there. Apparently, the primary jail here was... No, jail. Primary goal here was convincing these elders to approve helping me.
おい、どっから来た？
Where are you from? The old man's voice put my derailed mind back on track.
あ、はい、東京です。
I'm from Tokyo.
いくつじゃ？
How old are you?
年は24です。
24?
地位より上じゃが。
Older than she, eh? He chuckled. I immediately realized he was taking a jab at me for hiding behind a younger girl.
申し遅れました。房石春明です。芹沢さんにも紹介された通り、バイクで事故って迷い込みました。
It's nice to meet you. I'm Haruaki Fusaishi. Like she said, I wandered into the town after my bike crashed.
どうやら僕は、ここでは異分子のようで、変なことを言ったりしたりして、皆さんに 迷惑かけたくないなと。
I seem to be a total outsider here, so I didn't want to speak out of turn.
それで、芹沢さんに紹介をお願いしたんですが、僕から改めてお願いします。
That's why I asked her to talk on my behalf, but I think I should say something, at least.
すぐ出て行きますから、それまでは僕の存在を多めに見ていただけないかと。
I won't trouble you any longer than I have to, so I would be grateful if you pardoned my brief stay.
それと、僕を助けてくれた芹沢さんを責めないであげてください。
And please, don't blame her for helping me.
春明さん。
Hey, Haruaki.
おそらく芹沢さんは、ここの常識を外れたところで僕を助けてくれたんだと思うんです。学生たちもみんな驚いてた。
I think she went against this village's custom by helping me out. The students also seemed surprised.
まあ。
My.
これでも大人です。自分の責任は自分で取りますし、皆さんにかけた迷惑は可能な限り償います。
I'm an adult. I'm willing to take responsibility for any trouble I caused as best as I
です
can.
ので、どうかお願いします。
So please, put up with me.
ち
Bowed
ゃ
my
ん
head.
としとるタイバ
It seems all right to me, Taiba.
あたしゃ好かんわね。そんなに髪茶色に染めてから。
I don't know about that. Look at his hair. All colored brown. Crap, I forgot I didn't look very presentable to more traditionalist people.
よそは皆こうよ。はよう返せばえ
Outsiders are all like that. Just help them get out of here, I
おい
says.
じゃ好きにしなさいね。
Do what you want. I guess I got their half-hearted approval?
春秋春か。うちの孫も春じゃ。紛らわしい。
Haruaki, Haru, eh? Like my granddaughter. What a mess.
あ、もしかして
Oh, so that means you're...
そう。春ちゃんのおじいさんの牧島勘三さんよ。
Yep, he's Haru's grandpa, Kanzo Makishima. A pleasure. I don't know what else to say. Haru and I weren't on the best terms so far. Anyways, it seems like we were past the difficult part.
皿長に突っ込んだか。
Drove into Saranaga, eh?
いえ、コンビニで道を聞いた後、脇道に入って未舗装になったところで滑り落ちて横転しました。
No, actually, I asked for directions at a convenience store, went down a side road, and ended up losing control on an unpaved section.
で、皿長登ったか。なぜ途中で引き返さねえ。
And then you went in Saranaga. Why didn't you turn around? I wasn't impressed by my choice of actions. It just hit me that I had no idea how much time passed between the crash and my meeting with
わ
Chiemi.
しと匠で見てきちゃる。
Takumi and I'll go and see it.
匠は他を見よるわよ。
Takumi's working in the field.
タイバ追い出す思うて手伝わせ。
It's to get him to leave. Let the boy help.
カンちゃんはいっつもそうね。
You never change, Kan-chan.
ばあちゃん、おやさん、どうした？
Bam. He ripped. We're joined by a new inhabitant.
ちえみ、こいつは？
Chiemi, who is that guy?
あ、匠姉ちゃん。
Oh, it's Takumi Nichan. It's Giga Chad. Oh, he was the one we saw in the field. Wow, he sure looked big from up close. All that field work was good for his muscles, clearly. And from what I could tell, he was in his 30s. Jeez. In his 30s? God damn. As Chiemi introduced me and told him of my situation, I found out his name was Takumi Muro.
ああ、そいつは災難だったな。
Man, that must have been
おや
hard.
さん、
So, old man Kanzo,
わしとお前で拾う。
we'll pick it up.
だな。ばあちゃん、こいつ助けっからちょっと待っててな。もう農薬は巻き終わってるから、昼から草刈るわ。
I thought so. Tai-ba-chan. Wait a bit while I help the guy. I already spread the stuff on the field, so I'll mow the grass at noon.
匠は優しいね。
What a good boy.
そんなもんなんでもないって。すぐ何もなかったようにできるからよ。
Ha 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 ha. It ain't a big deal. I'll be so quick, you'll think nothing happened.
そうね。
Good to hear. Nothing, eh?
お兄ちゃんや。
Boy.
僕ですか？はい。
Me? What is it?
ここは安水言うてね。あんまりええ場所じゃないんよ。
You're in Yasumisu. It ain't a good place. It was the place that wasn't good, not my presence here?
あたしらもよそのもんが苦手だし、よそのもんも触れんがええ。
We don't like outsiders here, and outsiders should let sleeping dogs lie.
じゃから、はよ出てお行き。
You should hurry and leave. That's the plan.
話はついた感じか？
So it's all settled?
ありがとう、匠兄ちゃん。
Yep. Thanks, Takubi. I was beginning to understand how things work here. Although Kanzo Makishima's voice was the most powerful here, it was also important to get Tai-san's approval. Kanzo was probably in charge of tackling the settlement's practical problems, while Tai-chan provided spiritual and moral direction. And when it was time to be civilized, Takumi came and convinced Tai-san, acting as an intermediary. It looked like Takumi-san himself understood such subtleties, and Shiemi seemed to rely on this side of him.
はい、ここらで一つどうぞ。
Here you go. The old lady brought some tea to the old folk. Perfect timing.
おお、香織さん。俺には飯頼むぜ。
Oh, Kaori, looking forward to getting some food. So that was her name.
朝早くからお疲れ様でした。大盛りにしますからね。
Sure, I'll make a lot. It'll be a reward for waking up early and working hard.
なに、安水とばあちゃんと香織さんのためならへでもねえよ。
Hey, I'm doing it for Yasumisu, Ba-chan, and you. It's nothing, really.
まあ
Oh my. Those two sure seem to get along. They looked about the same age. The same age? Okay.
さあ、お客さんもご飯にされます？
Would you like something to eat too?
あ、いえ、いただいてきたので。
No thank you. I've already ate.
それじゃあお茶をどうぞ。おにぎりでもお出ししましょう。
Then here's some tea. I can also get you a light snack if you'd like. What'd you say to some onigiri?
ああ、それは。
Oh, that would be...
ごめんなさい。ちょっと急ぎで電話借りていいかな、香織さん。
Sorry, can we borrow the phone? We'll need it quick. Oh?
それはいいけど、お茶くらいは。
Sure, but why not have some tea first?
ありがとう。でもほんと緊急だから。行こう、春明さん。
Thanks, but it's urgent. Let's go, Haruaki.
うん。
Sure. It didn't look like it could say no. We went up the nearby stairs to see what seemed like a living space. At the end of the creaky hallway, there was a black rotary phone, a rarity in this day and age.
これがここ、安水唯一の電話だから。
This is the only phone in all of Yasumisu, by the way. Seriously?
ちなみに、携帯電話はどのキャリアも通じませんので。
Oh, and not a single mobile service provider works in this area.
そうなのか。でもどこに電話しろって？
Really? Well, what do you want me to call anyways?
ロードサービスとか保険とか、あと必要なら家族にも連絡。
Road service, insurance, stuff like that? Oh, and family if you have to. Oh, that made sense. Hell, I should have been the one to say that.
さっきも言ったけど、できるだけここを早く出られた方がいいから、使えるものは何でも使いましょう。
Like I said, it'd be best if you left as soon as possible. So you should use everything you have.
よそ者が歓迎されない場所だから？
Because outsiders aren't welcome here.
そういうことです。
Yep.
それ以上の詮索は無用と。
And I shouldn't pry any further, huh?
春明さんはとっても察しがいい。それはいいことだと思う。
Haruaki, I see you catch on quick. That's good.
ただ好奇心もとっても強く見える。
But you also seem really curious.
バレたか。
It shows, huh?
バレますとも。でも正直あんまりいろいろ首突っ込まない方がいいかも。
Of course it does. Honestly, though, you should avoid sticking your nose into
どう
things.
せすぐに別れるんだし。
Because we'll part ways soon anyways.
その通り。
Exactly.
なんだか寂しいな。
It's kinda sad.
お、ちえみちゃんのメアド御所も？
Oh, you want my contact info?
くれるならぜひ。
If you're willing to give.
やったー、これで男友達53人
Yay, that makes you guy number 53 on the list.
テンションガタ落ちですわ。
Darn, if that ain't a letdown. We still went on to exchange our info. I could only hope that being number 53 wasn't as big a problem as it sounded.
それはともかく、個人的興味で言えば、何が問題になってて、どんな背景があるのか知りたいのだけど。
Anyway, still like to know the reason why me being here is such a big deal.
おすすめしないな。
I don't recommend it.
なぜかな。
But why?
私が不愉快になるから。
Because it would make me upset.
あんまり故郷が好きじゃない。
You don't like it here?
うん。正直嫌い。
Yeah, I actually hate it.
ここの人とは仲良さそうに見えるけど。
You seem to get along with the people, though.
ああ、それは見えるだけですね。私相当な問題児だったんで、ご年配方とは結構気まずいよ。
That's just how it looks. I was a huge problem child, so I feel kinda awkward around the older folks here.
それに、パッと見はわからないいろんなしがらみもあるし。
And
ま
there's
あ、住人自体はそんなに嫌いじゃないけどね。
and there's tons of things you can't see right away. Oh, but I can't say I actually hate the people. With that, I decided to stop prying about this place any further. I'd back away before she came to hate me.
あ、でも、一つだけ聞いていい？
Oh, can I ask you one thing, though?
いい度胸。
Oh, gutsy.
何かな？
Go ahead.
室匠さんのこと好きだったりする？
Do you like that Takumi Muro guy?
え？私が？
What, me like him?
うん。
Yeah.
さすがにそれはないな。たくみ兄ちゃんかっこいいけど、ごつすぎるし、10以上年違うし、対象外です。
No way. Takumi's cool and all, but he's too rugged. And over a decade older than me. He's out of my strike zone.
それに、たくみ兄ちゃんは昔から香織さん一筋だし。
And he's always only had eyes for Kaori.
やっぱそうなんだ。結婚してるわけじゃないの？
Sure felt like it. They married or something?
うん。香織さん未亡人だから。
Oh, Kaori is a widow. Well, that seemed complicated. That aside, Chiemi had been acting a bit strange. Why did she drag me away from the tea? It seemed awkward. Assuming she hadn't been jealous of Kaori and simply didn't want her to charm me, it would mean she didn't want me to drink the tea. Why? Also, why did she feed me cup ramen? I could just have gotten food at the dining hall. Looking too deep into things was part of my nature, though things were never as bad as I assumed. I went on to call my insurance company, where I found out something. Apparently, this village was hundreds of kilometers away from the nearest service station, meaning I was ineligible for the normal service and had to pay extra. And the extra was no small amount too. It actually went over 100,000 yen. Also, I could have avoided this if I had taken a more expensive plan. This was all my own fault for not taking the bike salesman's advice. Crap. I said I would consider it and hung up. Then I went back to the dining hall.
あれ、おじいさんたちは。
Where did everyone go? The customers had changed completely. Hayasan, Kanzo, and Takumi were gone now, and they were replaced by a caricature of a juvenile delinquent. Who the funk are you? He shouted at me. He seemed like he was trying too hard. Then he slammed his bowl and chopsticks on the table and stood up to intimidate me.
久石春明です。
I'm Haruaki Fusaishi.
なめてんのか。
The hell? You wanna go?
まあ義継初対面の方になんて口の利き方を。
Goodness. Yoshitsugu? You don't talk like that to someone you just met.
うるせえババ。おいチェネ、そいつ誰だよ。
Shut up, hag. Chine? Chine? The hell is this a-hole?
バイクで事故った旅行者の春明さん。
Haruaki. He's a traveler who crashed his bike. Boy, was that introduction half-assed.
改めてこちら織部香織さんと次男の義継くん、安永くんが長男ね。
Let me introduce them to you. This is Kaori Oribe and her second son, Yoshitsugu. Yasunaga's the first.
安永くんって朝の彼？
Yasunaga, the guy you introduced me this morning?
そう、よく見たら似てるでしょ。
Yep, they may not look at it first. They may not look it at first, but they're alike, don't you think? The Oribes. What an unpredictable family.
兄貴のこと言ってんじゃねえよ。うぜんだよ、ぶっちゃ。
Stop talking about bro. You ugly beach.
そう言われてもな、モテちゃうからな、ちえ姉ちゃんは。
Call me that all you want. I'm confident in my popularity. And from what I'd seen, that confidence was well justified.
とっとと町へ戻っちまえ、バカ女。バカバカバカ。
F off back to the city, you idiot. You stupid dumb A.
どうしよう、春明さん。バカは否定できないかも。
Oh no, Haruaki, I don't think I can argue with that.
なんと、ちえみちゃんはバカだったのか。よーし、バカバカ。
What? You were an idiot. Alrighty then, stupid. You're stupid.
ひどい。
How mean.
言ってやろうぜ、義継くん。バカバカ。
Join me, Yoshitsugu. Stupid. Stupid.
なんなんだよてめえ。チェネバカにしてんじゃねえよ。
What the hell? Don't talk crap about Chi. Chie? Ni? You're pretty conflicted, aren't you?
ごめんちえみちゃん。本心じゃないんだ。
I'm sorry, Chiemi. I was just playing.
おお、見事な連続手のひら返し。このちえみをあっけに取られさせるとはなかなかやるな、春明さん。
Wow. One nice reversal after another. It takes quite a man to surprise me.
ちえみちゃんには負けないぜ。
I just don't want to lose you, that's all.
付き合ってんのかてめえら。
You dating or something? Boy, did I wish.
いい加減になさい義継。とうに遅刻でしょ。着替えて学校。
Stop it, Yoshitsugu. You're already late. Change and go to school.
うるせえ。行かねえよ。
Shut up. I ain't going. Mumbling something, the kid walked out of the dining hall, leaving his half-full bowl behind.
ごめんなさいね。お恥ずかしいところを。
I'm sorry about that. How embarrassing.
根は素直ないい子なんですけどね。
He's a really good boy deep down, though. Yeah, I could actually see that somewhat.
あ、ところで、牧島さんとムロさんは？
By the way, we're Makishima and Muro.
もうバイク拾いに出ましたよ。
They went to pick up your bike.
まずい。追いかけないと。
Oh no, I gotta hurry after them.
場所は分かってるみたいだったし、大丈夫じゃない？
Oh, they know where it is. They'll be fine, don't you think?
いや、一応ニュートラルにすれば押せるけどさ、操作わかるのかな？
Well, you have to set it on neutral and push. I'm not sure they know how to do it.
あとさすがに手伝うべきでしょ。作業が非効率になっちゃまずいし。
And I, of all people, should help. They might go about it the wrong way.
その程度なら手出しはやめときましょう。
If that's all, then you shouldn't
なん
bother.
で？
Why?
取りも直さず、春明さんがよそ者だからです。長時間一緒に歩くのはちょっとおすすめできない。
Because you're an outsider, I wouldn't suggest spending too much time alone with
問
them.
題になりそうな人たちには思えなかったけど。
They didn't seem that bad to me.
そりゃ二人とも大人だから。でも基本的にこのちえみほどオープンな人はここにはそうそういないからね。
That's because they're adults. Don't assume everyone here is as welcoming as me. I'm an exception.
春明さんは平気かもだけど、一緒にいると向こうがストレス溜めるかもしれない。ただでさえ今普通じゃないから。
You might get along fine, but you might also set them off. This place is already far from normal. Don't risk making it worse.
まあ、そうね。任せろと言われたら、手出しをしない方がいいでしょうね。
She's right, I say. They insisted you leave it to them, so that's what you should do.
そうなんですか。
You think so too?
ええ。安水には安水のやり方がある。
Yes.
男の人たちはそれにこだわるから。
The way she reads her lines. Yes, the men here are pretty serious about Yasumisu having its own way of doing things. I could somewhat understand that. A visitor should behave like one. Doing anything more would be uncalled for. It was an old-fashioned way of thinking, but this was an old-fashioned kind of place for sure.
じゃあ、どこで待とうか。
Where do we wait then?
うちに戻って待ちましょう。
At my place. Expected as much, but it still made me curious. Normally, you'd expect we'd sit around and drink some tea right here, so why didn't we? That's what happens to Japanese women when they hit 30. Oh, okay. As we waited, Chiemi, casually but uncomfortably, told me several things. First, I found out that the people here in Yasumisu were a bit on edge right now. The reason for that was the fact that, excluding me, they had 3 whole outsiders here. I'd assumed this myself from what I knew so far, but apparently yesterday morning, a little girl was found straying around the Saranaga Rapids. They couldn't even find out her name, let alone her parents, who their parents were, so they didn't know how to handle her. For now, one of the inhabitants was looking after her. Like I've been told, the more superstitious inhabitants, Teisan mostly, saw her as a bad omen. I suggested leaving her to the police, but Chiemi didn't seem to think it was a good idea. Barely made sense to me, but if I were to believe her, things around here were such that not even the cops could do anything. And apparently, the remaining 2 outsiders were a pair of journalists gathering info from a magazine article. And unlike the little girl and I, they'd come here via the normal route through Kamifujiyoshi, and therefore weren't considered as a bad omen or whatever. Still, even normal outsiders put the people here on edge. Through this talk, I also got some details about the area itself. Oh, look at that! Yasumisu was a settlement part of an autonomous region called Fujiyoshi Village, or simply Fujiyoshi. It also been on the map I'd been shown at the store. Fujiyoshi was split into 2 areas, Yasumisu and Kami Fujiyoshi. They were separated by the mountain. Going to Kami Fujiyoshi took about an hour by foot, or 20 minutes by car on the winding but paved road. Side note, the school the students went to was in Kami Fujiyoshi. These 2 settlements had ties so strong, they shared customs and culture. Why is there a pine? Chiemi said the local seasonal events were quite unconventional. I asked her to elaborate, but all she could say was that Yasumisu had a special meeting to Fujiyoshi. It was making me more sus than I wanted to be. This conversation wasn't nearly as exciting as the one we had last night. Well, at least I found out that she didn't have a boyfriend right now. Very intriguing. It was nearly noon when Takumi came back, ending my waiting game. Side note, the door was fully open the entire time we waited. It was probably Chiemi's way of saying that nothing bad was happening here.
バイクってのはおめえもんだな、おやっさん。
Man, bikes sure are heavy, huh?
去年取った獅子ほどじゃねえ。
Ain't as heavy as the boar I caught last year. I didn't expect them to just carry it here. Like, sure, there were two of them, but how much mass did you have to haul a 200 kilograms piece of metal so easily? How much mass did you have to haul a 200 kilogram piece of metal so easily? The unpaved road and the river made my sweet ride really darn muddy.
どうやってあの崖を上げたんです？
How'd you bring it up the cliff?
滑車があんだよ。たまに下から物を引き上げなきゃなんねえから。
There's a pulley. We bring stuff up from the bottom every now and then.
おい、匠。
と、余計なこと言ってる場合じゃねえ。これ大丈夫なのか？だいぶ水に浸かっちまったみてえだけど。
Oh yeah, now's not the time for that. Hey, you think this thing's all right? Looks pretty darn wet.
どうかな。見てみます。
I'm not sure. I'll check.
じゃああとは任すぜ。おやっさん、結構かかっちまったから、研ぎ直しは明日まで待ってもらえっか。
I'll leave the rest to you then, old man. I'll leave the rest to you then, old man. This took longer than I thought. Is it fine if I do the sharpening tomorrow? Mm-hmm. I saw them off with a loud thank you. Now then,
手伝おっか？
need help?
とりあえず一人でなんとかなるかやってみるよ。
I'll see what I can do by myself first. The worst part of the repairs was right at the beginning. I wanted to start by washing it, but that old lady, Tai Yamawaki was her full name, got really mad at me. She didn't want any Saranaga mud on the ground here because it was corrupt or something. But this plaza was the only place with easy access to a water supply tap. I did my best and convinced her to let me wash it as close to the edge as possible. Once it was clean, I could start checking what was wrong with it. It actually looked pretty good, bent in places, sure, but the wash got rid of the bad sound the wheels made. The only problem was that both tires were flat, and it was a pretty big
道
one.
具とか持ってきてないの？
You didn't bring tools? No.
普通バイク旅行とかって持ってくるもんじゃないの？
Aren't you supposed to whenever you go on a bike trip?
いざとなればロードサービス呼べばいいかな。的なノリだったんで。
I just thought I could call road service and they'd do all the work.
不準備。
So unprepared.
いやー、返す言葉もない。正直やけくそで出発したから冷静でもなかったのかも。
I have no excuse. Honestly, I was having a moment when I went out. Didn't think things through.
お？事情を聞いてほしそう。
Oh, can I ask what happened?
彼女に振られたんだよ。
My girlfriend left me.
なんか嘘っぽいな。
That seems like a lie. It wasn't.
それはともかく、タンク修理道具か。
In any case, somewhere to get tools to fix a flat tire.
野里屋敷ならあるかもしれないな。
There might be some in the Nosato Mansion.
野里屋敷？
Nosato Mansion?
うん。安水で一番大きなお家。野里屋敷にないものは安水にはないよ。
Yep, it's the biggest place in Yasumisu. If you can't find something there, you won't find it anywhere else in the village.
なるほど。じゃあそこの人にお願いしに行こう。
I see. Then let's give it a shot.
実はあんまり会うのはおすすめできないんだけど、背に腹は変えられないか。
I don't really recommend meeting the guy, but I can't think of any other ideas.
また偉い人が登場？
Someone important again?
その上ちょっと人格的にね。
Yep, and he's kind of messed up to boot. And so we walked up the hill and arrived at the so-called Nosato Mansion. From what I could tell, It was located at the highest point of the settlement. And like Chiemi said, it was definitely a hell of a building. It had an elegant Western design, which would probably look even better if the place were better maintained. The yard was overgrown and the building itself was pretty much buried in ivy and small trees. If someone told me it was cursed, I'd instantly believe them. Did people actually live here?
インターホン生きてるかな？
Wonder if the intercom works. She pressed the button next to the aged iron gate. Yasumisu was a quiet place, so I could easily hear the bell ring inside.
もう一度押そうか？
Should we try again?
やめとこ。何度も鳴らすと心象悪いから。
Let's not. We'll piss him off.
そんなに気難しい人なの？
Moody guy, huh?
そうね。気難しい。うん。いい表現だ。
Moody. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I wasn't sure what she meant, but I opted just to wait rather than ask more questions. Soon enough, the person in question walked out the mansion.
なんだ誰だ
What is it? Who are you? He wasn't young, but he didn't look middle-aged either. He certainly looked high-strung, that much was sure.
どうも、野里さん。芹沢です。
Hello, Nosato. It's Serizawa.
知っている芹沢千恵美そっちの青年は存じ上げないがね
I know you, Chiemi Serizawa. I'm asking the young man with you.
春明さん、こちら野里清之助さん。清之助さん、事故車の久石春明さんです。
Haruaki-san, this is Kiyonosuke Nosato-san. Kiyonosuke? This is Haruaki Fusaichi. He got into an accident. That introduction was the briefest one yet.
はなんだって
Huh? What? I explained the situation again. He furrowed his brow when I mentioned the Saranaga, in addition to the reason why we were here.
というわけで、早々にここから出ていくためにも、修理道具をお持ちだったら貸していただけないかと。
So I need repair tools so I can get out of here as soon as possible.
タイヤはチューブですかね
Are the tires tubeless? Huh?
一応パッチもあるがねチューブタイヤだったら素人には難しいんじゃないのかできるならいいがね
I have patches, but I think fixing tubeless tires would be a bit too much for an amateur. Though, there's no problem if you aren't.
なあチューブがバーストしてたら交換するしかないが替えはさすがに持っておらんよ譲る義理もないがね
Oh, but if the tube bursts, you have no choice but to change it. And I don't have any spares here, obviously, and I wouldn't give them if I did.
すみません。ちょっとそのあたり、あんまり詳しくないまま乗っちゃったんで。
Sorry, I'm not too knowledgeable about that.
ちょっと話にならんねおとなしく何十万高の勉強料払って拾ってもらうのをおすすめしよう
What a waste of time. I recommend spending however many thousands you need to have a repairman come and pick you up. I had no retort to that.
野里さん、多分ですけど、今の時期これ以上よその車がここに入るとか良くないんじゃないですか
Oh, but Nosato, I don't think we can have any more outsiders come here right now.
は君は間違いりだろう未だにそんなもの信じてるのかね
Haven't you been to a proper city? Don't tell me you still believe that nonsense.
私はともかくじいさまばあさま方がちょっとここ数日やたら外来者多いですし
Well, I'd be fine with it, but I doubt the elders would be. We've had too many visitors these past few days.
安水の連中の事情は知らんよ私にどうしろとえ油まみれになってパンク修理しろと
I don't care what you Yasumisu peasants think. What do you expect me to do anyway? Fix the tires myself and get oil all over me?
いや、そこまでなくても藤吉の長者として困ってるマロードを助けるのにお力添えをいただけないかと
Oh, I would never suggest that. I just think that a Fujiyoshi village head should help a troubled village. A Fujiyoshi village head should help a troubled visitor.
困った時だけ長者を頼るのではなく 休みず流のもてなしでもしたらどうかね。崖から突き落とすんだったか？
Huh. How about instead of relying on me only when it's convenient, you just give him a traditional Yasumisu welcome, you know, throw him off the cliff. Whoa, what the hell?
いや、そんな言っちゃダメですよ。
Come on, you can't say that. Chiemi's tone was slightly off. I could feel a bit of irritation behind her words.
本当お恥ずかしい限りなんですが、なんとかしてみるんで道具だけ貸してもらえませんか？
I know it might be a bother, but can you at least lend me the tools?
なんだと？
What?
道具やらキットやら仮に入るだけで作業は別のところでしますから、もちろんお代は払います。
I'll just borrow them. You won't hear or see me work. I can even pay.
まあ構わんがね。下手に物を破損させたりしたら弁償してもらうぞ。学生だか知らんがきっちりしてもらう。
Well, I don't mind that much, but I'll want compensation for anything you break. Student or not, I'll have you act proper. Then he pointed me to the garage and walked back to the mansion.
いやー、なんとかならない気がしてきた。チューブがバーストってなんだろう。
Man, I thought we were screwed there. What the hell's a burst tube?
春明さんかっこ悪。
Wow, that's so lame.
バイク乗りならスパナ1本で何でも修理してみせろと。
What, you think every biker can fix a bike just by bashing it with a wrench or something?
まあわかりませんけど、なんかそういうメカに強い感じ出したらグッとくる女は多いのでは。
I don't know, but aren't there a lot of girls who are into guys good with cars and stuff?
じゃあ野里氏にはグッときたと。
Oh, so you're into Nosato.
いやー、どうせ知ったかぶりだから。あの人多分自分じゃ整備もできないよ。
Nope.
筋金入りの裏なり秒単だし。
He's just acting like he's smart. He's probably never repaired a thing in his life. The guy's not as nearly as experienced as he would have you think.
じゃあなぜバイクの整備用品なんて。
Huh? And why does he have bike repair stuff?
野里屋敷は上富士吉にある野里家のもっと大きいお屋敷からいらないものを運んで置いとくような場所らしくてね。
The Nosato mansion is basically the Yasumisu branch of the Nosato family. Their main mansion is in Kami Fujiyoshi. Whatever they don't need there, they send over here.
5、6年前に清之助さんが単車買ってもらったけど、ろくに乗りこなせなくてお蔵入りにしたとか聞いたことある。
I heard Kiyonosuke was given a car 5 or 6 years ago, but he couldn't even drive it at all. So it's been gathering dust ever since. Dang, that's the countryside for you. Couldn't hide your shame if your life depended on it. Anyway, I knew that the man was condescending. I knew that the man was the condescending, pretentious type. He still helped me out though. And it was true, I didn't know much about bike repairs, so I couldn't really get mad.
さ、そうと決まれば使えそうなものは全部持ち出してやろうぜ。
Anyways, let's just take everything that looks like it could be useful.
さながら山賊のごとく乗った。
Like bandits? I'm in.
私邪魔じゃないかな。
You sure I'm not bothering you?
いや、適当に話してないと気がめいるんで、相槌打ってくれるだけでも助かる。
I'd feel down without anyone to talk to. Just keep chatting with me, it helps. Instructions that came with the repair kit told me that my bike's tires were a rather difficult type to repair. Apparently, I had to remove the tires, but where'd I even start with that? Well, as long as I didn't break it, nothing I did could be worse than having to call road service down here, so I tried taking it apart. But as I removed whatever nuts I could, I made the situation even worse than it was. Yeah, this really wasn't a job for an
お
amateur.
兄さん大変そうね。ちえみちゃんもよかったら食べてね。
You seem to be having a rough time. You can eat this too, Chiemi-chan.
あ、ありがとうございます。
Wow, thank you.
なんか大元になってんな。機械っつうのはやっぱダメだな。
Well, this looks serious. Man, machines are just no good.
まあ怖いさえしなきゃ文明の利器は便利だけどね。
Hey, The benefits of culture are great as long as they don't break. Munch munch.
日暮れまでに治りそうかい？
Think you can fix it before sundown?
厳しいかも。最悪なんとかするから安心して。ばあちゃん。
That might be hard. But don't worry though. Worst comes to worst, I'll do something. I really appreciated how she handled the visitors in my stead.
なあ、知恵ね。バイクって免許簡単に取れんの？
Hey Chieni, is it hard to get a bike license?
どうだろう。原付なら簡単よ。私も持ってるし。
I don't know. I know that scooter licenses are easy. I have one myself.
中型大型の二輪は結構めんどいよ。普通免許取るのと同じ学科講習もあるし。バイク好きなのかい？
Mid-sized bike licenses are pretty hard to get. You even need to take a course, just like with cars. You like bikes?
ああ、関係ねえだろ。ちなみにそれいくらすんだよ。
The hell? What's the matter to you? How much was that anyway?
これは新車で80万くらいかな。
800,000 yen, brand new.
たっけはたっけバカどうやって貯めんだよ。
Holy cow, what the hell? That's way too high. You an idiot or what? How'd you get that much?
まあバイトとか頑張ったから。
Part-time jobs and all that.
そんな新車が事故ってなんて。春明さん、気の毒。
And you got it into an accident. Poor Haruaki.
千恵美先生、さっきから気にはなってたんだけど、差し入れ、僕の分は？
Shemi, if I may ask, what happened to my share of the food?
先生思わず全部食べちゃった。春明さん気の毒。
Oh no, I ate it all. Poor Haruaki. I didn't want sympathy from the one responsible. As I told her off for not leaving me any food, somehow I removed the tires. I could only hope I'd be able to fix this up. I've had this thing for less than a month, but the trouble it was putting me through made it feel somewhat dear to me. I wanted to fire it up again and make it go as fast as I could. Suddenly I heard an engine. It felt like it was mocking me. Hold on, an engine here? I stopped working and turned around to see an unfamiliar van drive into the plaza. Barring the classic-looking piece of junk in Nasato's garage, this was the first time I'd seen a car here. As far as I knew, no one living here actually owned a running car, so... These are the journalists I told you about. I knew it. Once the van stopped, a lady stepped out of it. Hello. Oh, she's pretty. Hello. I'll be bothering you again today. You're a new face.
どうも、自己春明です。
Hello, my name's Haruaki Bike Crash.
そこまで自虐的になんなくても。
Don't be so hard on yourself, huh? That was no time for an inside joke. I quickly introduced myself
ちょっ
properly.
とその辺で事故りましてね。ここに寄せてもらってます。
I crashed not too far away, so I'm stuck here for the time being.
なるほど、学生さんね。事故は災難だったわね。ちなみに私はこういうものです。
Oh, I see. So you're a student. Sorry about the trouble you're going through. Oh, and this is me. The woman gave me a business card. Hisako Mamiya, a freelance writer. Her pen name
ちなみに
was... I
読ん
missed
だこと
that.
ない？宝生9個の記事。
Her pen name was Kyoko Husei. Have you ever read Kyoko's Husei's articles?
すみません。
Oh, sorry.
だよね。まだまだマイナーだし、そもそも記事載った雑誌、主婦向けとシニア向けだし。
Figured. I'm not a big name yet, and the magazines I do get printed. The magazine I do get printed are marketed for housewives and the elderly.
それは難易度高いな。ちなみに何を書いておられるんです？
That's some pretty intense competition. What do you write anyway?
フードレビュー、
変わった食品専門のね。
Food reviews. I specialize in unusual dishes.
あれですか？世界で一番臭い缶詰とかそういう。
Like the foulest smelling canned food in the world or something?
そうそう。まあシュールなんて今更ネタになんないから国内に絞ってマイナーな珍味を探し歩いてるわけ。
Yep, well, your usual brand of weirdness doesn't attract much attention these days, so I'm looking for minor culinary oddities local to
そんな
Japan.
わけで郷里に変わった料理があるとか情報があったらぜひちょうだい。
Anyway.
日本全国どこでも行くから。
If you know any weird dishes from your hometown, do tell me. I'd travel the length of Japan to give it a try.
ラボの後輩がキャンパス内で取ったキノコで豚汁作ったら集団幻覚が起きまして。
A student from the lab I frequented once made pork miso soup with a mushroom he found on campus. We had mass hallucinations and
思いつきと毒物は却下ね。
no flashes of brilliance or poisons, please. As we chatted, I became curious.
そういえば取材の方はお二人とか。
By the way, weren't there two of you?
ええ、もう一人いるわ。ちょっと降りてくるのに時間が。あ、来た来た。
Yes, I'm here with a partner. He just needs some time to... Oh, here he is. Looked at the van then. Became completely awestruck. It felt like the van had shed its skin or something. That made no sense, but seriously, how did this fit in there? He was gargantuan. Takumi was something, but this man was on the level of a foreign heavyweight wrestler. Though, unlike Takumi, this man was primarily fat rather than muscle. This is Lucky, the chonker. As he walked out of the driver's seat, the van shook wildly.
写真家の橋本雄大さんよ。こちらは私よりもっとずっと有名。
Yudai Hashimoto, a photographer. He's way more famous than me.
オールラウンドでご活躍中で、写真はきっと気づかないうちに何枚か目にしてるはずよ。
He works in all sorts of fields. I imagine you've seen some of his photos without even knowing it. I didn't know much about photography, but I was definitely convinced. There was a certain kind of authority or gravity around... certain kind of authority or gravity around him. He wasn't saying a word. I couldn't tell what he was thinking.
どうもはじめまして。久石春明です。
Nice to meet you. I'm Haruaki Fusaishi. Was he even alive? Hello. After a strange pause, he slightly bowed like the moving mountain he was and greeted me with a voice like a titan. He seemed somewhat difficult to interact
今
with.
日で最終日でしたっけ？
This is your last day here, isn't it?
ええ、オリレさんが秘蔵の獅子慣れを開けてくださるってことなので。
Yes, Oribe said that she'd let me try her prized Shishinare.
よその人に耐えられるかな。
I don't know if an outsider can handle it.
まあ、胃薬も持ってきてるから大丈夫でしょ。
I have my stomach medicine. I'm sure I'll be fine. And so, Mamiyashi and Hashimoto-shi walked off into the dining hall. Who would have thought that such a beauty was a delicacy hunter? I had to admit, that gap was kind of charming. As intrigued as I was, I couldn't waste any more time. I had to fix my bike already. Whoa! A lot of things had surprised me here in Yasumisu, but nothing as much as this.
もしもし。
Hello? No reaction. At first glance, he looked like a poor man too senile to think and perceive properly.
何かご用ですか？
You need something from me? I made sure to speak as clearly as possible. It didn't look like he understood. I figured it was best just to ignore him and resume the repairs, but... Coming. I looked at him again. He was still just standing there like his soul and brain left his body. A vacant stare, yellowed eyes, half-open mouth covered in saliva. Coming. He spoke again.
何が来るんです？
What's coming? What? His voice was too hoarse to make out.
何ですって？
Come again? Placed my hand against my ear. He finally understood what I wanted and prepared to whisper something. I brought my ear closer and... The wolf is coming! A sudden shout caught me completely off guard and made me fall to the ground. He looked down at me, laughing. He clapped and opened his half-toothless mouth in a wide smile. The wolf is coming! The wolf is coming! He bent his body in a weird way, laughed like he was convulsing, and turned around. Just left. Haruaki? Oh, I'm too late. Chiemi had joined the journalists and only just came back.
何が遅かったと？
Late for what?
おじいちゃん、知らない人にはああやっていたずらするんだよ。
Gramps over there loves messing around with strangers like that.
あれ、ちえみちゃんの？
Wait, that's your grandpa?
いやいや、本名は知らないんだ。昔から休みずにいるおじいちゃんだけど、昔からあんな感じ。
No, I don't even know his name. He's been in Yasumisu forever, and he's always like
ボ
that.
ケてるというか、ちょっとおかしいのか、あの人。
Felt less like he was just messing around and more like he's a bit touched.
うん。みんな狼じじいって呼んでるけどね。
Yep, everyone calls him the old man who cried wolf. After the boy who cried wolf, I assume. Doesn't work as well, though.
狼。
Wolves, eh? As far as I knew, there was no wild wolves in Japan. There used to be, but after the last sighting in either the Meiji or Showa era, they've been considered extinct here. Modern Japan's image of wolves came from Western fairy tales and the like. It wasn't linked to anything in our culture or life. Even the boy who cried wolf was a Western tale. His brand of insanity made him repeat the tale or something? A bit weirded out by the circumstances, I went back to repairing my bike. After a bit more time, I somehow took off the rubber from the tires and removed the tubes. Both tires were pierced by some really rusty nails. Dang. This kind of stuff only happened at the worst of times. Then I applied the patches, filled them with air using a manual pump. And with the tubes, there were no bubbles, meaning no air was leaving them. Things were looking good. After the high schoolers came back from school and passed by, no one else stopped to talk. Chiemi was looking a bit bored
なんと
now.
かなりそうかも。
I think I got it.
嘘。あんなにダメっぽかったのに。
Seriously, but it all seemed so hopeless.
悪かったね。まあ、これを組み立て直すって大仕事が残ってるけど。
Well, sorry. Though I still need to rebuild this. It's gonna be a lot of work.
それが終わったら出発できそう？
And you'll be able to leave then.
そうだね。長居するとまずそうなのはよくわかったし。
Yeah, believe me, I know I shouldn't stay here long. I can take a hint.
そう、よかった。
That's great. She didn't seem to care that much. Guess I had no chance with her, huh?
もう何時間も缶を詰めっぱなしでしょ？大丈夫？疲れてない？
You've been at this for hours. How you holding up? Need a break?
昼食休憩の機会が誰かさんに奪われたこともあってね。
Well, I'd be better if a certain someone didn't take away my lunch break.
代わりにクラッカーをあげたじゃないですか。
Hey, I gave you some crackers, didn't I? Like that was enough to sate a guy in his mid-20s.
まあ、僕は大丈夫。もう一頑張りする。君ももう行っていいよ。大体の人とは顔合わせしたような気がするし。
Still, I'm pretty fine. I'll push forward a bit more. You can go if you want. I've been introduced to just about everyone
多
Ah,
here.
分あと2人会ってない人がいるかな。
There's 2 people you haven't met yet. Well, really? There was no real need to, right?
もうちょっといるよ。どうせ暇だから帰ってきたわけだし、することもないし。
I'll stay around a bit longer. I came here because I was bored. It's not like I'm busy.
52人の男友達と遊ぶ選択肢はなかったの？
Couldn't you just play around with your 52 guy friends?
電源撤回。暇したいから帰ってきたの。街暮らしは面倒も多くて。52人からのメール攻めとかさ。
I take it back. I came back because I wanted to be bored. Living in the city is so annoying and tiring, especially when 52 guys texting you all the time.
そっか。
I see.
ごめん。52人は嘘。
Sorry, I lied about the 52 guys.
なんでそんな嘘を。
What?
春明さんに対する牽制？
Because I wanted to keep you in check, I guess? Why would she pull a tactic like that only to reveal her hand?
ねえ、彼女に振られたって本当？
Hey, did you really get dumped by your girlfriend? And now that she asked me that,
本当だって。
I did, honest.
そっか。
I see. Well, after that relentless assault, it wouldn't be fair unless I played my own card.
なんならこれ乗っていく？
Want to come with?
これって2人乗りなんだ。
It's a 2-seater?
もちろん。一応タンデム用のヘルメットも吊るしてきてるし、まだ乾いてないけど。
Yeah, there's even an extra helmet. It's not dry yet, though.
僕はこのままここを出ていくから、その便でちえみちゃんも外に出るのが都合良ければってことになるけど。
I'm obviously leaving soon, so unless you have something planned, you can join
つい
me.
でにロングツーリングしてみる？時間さえあればどこへだって行くよ。
You can even go on a bike tour. If we have enough time, I can take you anywhere. Flexible, open to fine-tuning, wild and charming. This was a good date invitation, if I said so myself.
いいね。素敵。都合問題ないよ。
That sounds great, and I have no plans. Oh,
じゃあ荷物まとめてくるね。
I'll go get my stuff then. Shemi smiled and turned around to head to her place. Then she looked back at me and...
急いだ方がいいよ。
You should hurry before I change my mind.
はいはい。
Yeah,
も
sure.
ちろん。
Well, that made me motivated. This was one tiring trip, but at least I met someone good along the way. I just forget everything I didn't want to remember while on the road with her. I could only hope that clever girl and I would eventually grow closer. With that ulterior motive in mind, I resumed rebuilding the bike. After several failed attempts, I was finally making good progress putting the bike back together. Afternoon had passed and it was almost evening. At the rate I was going, I would be definitely working while it was dark. Would that even be possible? Might be way past midnight by the time I was done. Chemi might dump me for that. Man, life sure was hard. The plaza I worked in was now totally empty. There was no one around me. All I could hear was the wind, the frogs, and the tools in my hands. It was desolate, to say the least. Suddenly felt really weak. It made me keenly aware of being in a place I didn't belong and that I was preparing to escape. It was an oppressive atmosphere, like the bars of a cage were slowly swinging shut. What's this, Haruaki? Think you're gonna get attacked or something? I tried to laugh it out, but it didn't work. Laugh it off, but it didn't work. As I became more conscious of my surroundings, I began to hear things I hadn't noticed before. I heard a voice. Someone was singing. It was an inarticulate little girl's voice. I stopped my work. Before I knew it, I put my tools down and gone looking for the source. Was I that starved for human presence? Or did the malaise make me feel like I was in danger? I walked down the hill where the song came from. Passing the tall grass, I arrived. The guardians are Is that the pine? The field was covered in tall grass. There was countless rocks peeking out of it. Unlike the boulders all over Yasumisu, these were only up to my waist. They looked like gravestones. 6. The bad jar hums along great within an array of bricks. The bad jar hums along great within an array of bricks. What? The field extended into the dusky western sky before ending off at a cliff. This was the lowest spot in Yasumisu, the border of Saranaga. There was a large pine at the edge. 8. The donut bologna rice snows on the mountain. The evening sun, the stones, and the pine shadow gave the field a strange aura. A little girl was running through it. Her steps were awkward. At this moment, this space was alien. I felt like I was looking at a Giorgio the Chirico painting. I have no idea who that is. The place felt like it didn't belong in this world. Suddenly, I came to understand that this place was special. It was sacred, mystical ground where no outsiders were welcome. The girl fell. Are you okay? I run with no hesitation to the little girl. What is this dialogue? Help up. Half-crying little girl. Muddy clothes. New graze on band-aid cover up kneecap. I console little girl. Push away. Run. Someone appears. Girl saw once me. Prepare for the feast when the evening mists arrived. Girl weave incomprehensible phrase. Hide behind little girl. Fear and hostility. Eyes. Run. Girl hug little girl. Warn me? You probably won't make it. But run. Me, girl behind. Me, girl behind mist. Mist, 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 mist. Me, girl behind mist, 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 mist. Me. Turn around. Run. Where? In a daze, I came back to the plaza. Suddenly, Chiemi shook me, bringing me back to my senses. Where were you?
ごめん。すぐ作業に戻るから。
Sorry, I'll finish the job now. It's too late, you idiot! You won't make it in time! You've got to hide! I couldn't understand what she was getting at. What are you doing? Go to your room right now! But Haruaki! Forget the outsider. Old man Kanzo and I'll check the other places. Stop wasting time and go back to yours. I couldn't understand. What were these two doing? What scared them so much? Didn't take me long for me to find out. I looked down the hill from Saranaga. Beyond the field I'd just been in came a rising haze. It was so dense you could easily call it mist. It moved strangely like a living creature as it flowed into the plaza. Haruaki, over here! Chiemi pulled me by the hand.
何がなんだか頭がなんだ
What's going
頭が重いな
What's going on? My head, it feels like it weighs a ton.
今は我慢してどこか鍵のかかるところに一人で入るの出ないと死んじゃう
Deal with it. You gotta find a place you can lock the doors. You'll die if you don't.
どういうことなの？理由を。
What do you mean? Tell me.
お願い、春明さん。今だけは言うことを聞いて。
Please don't ask questions. Just do as I say just once. Albeit hesitantly, I did as she said. We ran up the hill, crossed the rice field path until we made it to a simple outhouse.
ここならなんとか。
This should be fine.
本当、何事なんだ？確かにすごい霧だけど、そんな慌てることじゃ。
Seriously, what's going on? And sure, that was a hell of a miss, but this won't protect me, right?
いい、春明さん。詳しく説明してる時間はない。だから、お願いだから、今から言うことを絶対に守って。
Listen, there's no time to explain, so please just do as I say and only
今
that.
から一晩、ここに入って、鍵をかけて、絶対に物音一つ立てないで。
Get in there, lock yourself in, stay inside the whole night, and don't make a sound. My mind was pretty clear at this point, so much that I began to wonder why it was so clouded until now. Because of that, I could easily understand what Chiemi just said, despite how weird it was. I could also see she was really desperate. Well, we don't have a choice. Hide in the outhouse.
また、とんでもない指示が来たもんだ。
Now that's a hell of an order.
春明さん。
言っとくけど、相当な無茶ぶりだからね。ノルマクリアの暁には、相当な見返りと説明を要求するから。
Just so you know, pulling that off is pretty hard. When I do, I'd like a good reward and an explanation.
いいよ。全部話す。
Sure, I'll tell you everything.
だから、今晩を生き延びて。
So please survive the night. The words, the teary smile, none of it looked fake.
じゃあね。君も急ぐんでしょ？
See ya then. You gotta hurry, right?
それじゃ、春明さん。
Yep, Haruaki.
何？
What?
明日言うから。
I'll tell you tomorrow. Leaving me one hell of a homework assignment, Chiemi ran off. The plaza was covered in the mist by now. I could see it rising to take over the fields too. Anyway, a promise was a promise. 10 minutes later, I began to wonder what I was doing. Was I really supposed to spend the night here? This outhouse wasn't a prefab you found in construction sites. It was a shack built by hand. It merely happened to have a toilet unit installed. It was Japanese style, so I couldn't even sit down. All I could do was stand. Another problem. It was the type of toilet that periodically had to be pumped empty, so the smell was really bad. Sure, there was a cover on the toilet unit, but without any kind of air freshener anywhere, the smell of ammonia could only do so much. The only good thing about being here was that if I had to go to the toilet, well, mission complete. But what of it? Again, was I really supposed to spend the night here? The question quickly made me realize how stupid this was, and I began making assumptions to make this easier for myself. Was I being pranked, or was everyone here just crazy? Hell, the mist had already filled the surroundings. And there was no way this shabby outhouse protected me from it. The air here already felt misty and damp. The temperature here was low, so I could still bear it somewhat, but staying here all night would make me all wet. Again, I wasn't safe from the mist here. That considered, I'd probably be better off sleeping in the grass outside than staying here. The reasonable part of my mind urged me to stop playing along with these hicks. However,
今から一晩ここに入って鍵をかけて絶対に物音一つ立てないで。
get in there, lock yourself in, stay inside the whole night, and don't make a sound.
いい
I'll
よ。
tell you everything.
全部話す。だから今晩を生き延びて。
So please survive the night. My sense of duty made it hard for me to break the promise I made to her. Actually, that wasn't quite true. I was more intrigued by the prospect of learning more about this place. Anyway, I took the time to compile what I found out today. This was the Yasumitsu settlement, a special part of Fujiyoshi. It was situated right next to the Saranaga Rapids. The people living here were Chiemi Serizawa, Yasunaga Oribe, his family, Kaori Oribe and Yoshitsugu Oribe, Chikamochi Kamoshida, Haru Makishima, her granddad, Kanzo Makishima, Tai Yamawaki, Takumi Muro, Kyonosuke Nosato. It seemed like he was from Kami Fujiyoshi, the place on the other side of the mountain, but for some reason he lived here now. Finally, the old man who cried wolf. Those were the 11 people I met. And Chiemi said I had 2 more left. This could only mean that the 2 more I'd met by the pines were the ones. Little girl, she was probably the child that strayed into Saranaga yesterday morning. And then there was the fantastical looking white-haired woman clad in strange clothing. She was probably the one I seen in the morning. The fact I'd seen her twice made it likely that she was indeed real, but how mysterious this place was, I couldn't rule out the possibility that she was an illusion. According to Chiemi, the little girl was being looked after by someone in the village, so I can only assume that the white-haired woman was the one. If I counted the little girl, it would mean that Yasumitsu had 13 inhabitants. There were the 2 journalists, Hisako Mamiya and Yudai Hashimoto. Add me to that, and you have a total of 3 outsiders. But I'd put that aside for now. Anyway, time for an assessment. Yesterday morning, a little girl strayed into Saranaga. To make it worse, no one, not even herself, knew anything about her. She instantly got branded as an ill omen. The next day, Chiemi, who was in Saranaga for some reason, found me there. They recognized me as a proper lost person. But since I came through Saranaga, I was also branded as an ill omen. From what Kyonosuke Nosato she said, it was safe to assume that it used to be customary to throw people like us into Saranaga. And then there was the mist. The girl said something mysterious. Prepare for the feast when the evening mists arrived. I can only assume it was related to some superstitions. After all, the mist came from Saranaga itself. And it and the river seem to be central to the local customs and ideas. With that in mind, how was it dangerous? What was going to happen to us? Yamibito, as in people from Yomi, an ancient Japanese land of the dead? Dead people came back through Saranaga, and they were corrupted. Well, that gave rooms for some wild ideas. Was there some sort of pathogen in Saranaga that rose up with the mists? Did it turn people into zombies? Was I about to be part of a Japanese Resident Evil? Wait, that was already Japanese. Bada bing. What if you had a 10% chance to be infected by the mists, but a 100% chance to be infected by another person? That would explain why everyone had to isolate themselves like this. If I became a zombie, I probably wouldn't have the mind to unlock the door. So basically, by locking myself in there, I was quarantining myself. I hadn't put all that much thought into it, but that seemed like a good story. Sure, stuff like the boulders and the wolves didn't fit anywhere into my idea, but it was still interesting. And again, I knew this was Hicksville and all, but would a superstition like that science could explain so easily really survive the modern world? It seemed so weird.
今から一晩ここに入って鍵をかけて絶対に物音一つ立てないで。
Get in there, lock yourself in, stay the whole night, and don't make a sound. Don't make a sound. To be frank, the reason why I spent so much time on these delusions was because I was scared of things I didn't know or understand. In the past, people used to attribute stuff like natural phenomena and diseases to gods, devils, yokai, and do nothing but fear them. They were scared of these manifestations of monsters and whatnot. But on the other hand, it was better than not seeing or not knowing what they really were. The fact that you could die to things you couldn't see or understand made life really unreasonable and unfair. That was why it was very logical to give things names and mental images in order to recognize and memorize them. My fear of things I didn't know was the same, except I wasn't satisfied with just labels or hypotheses. I needed to reach for the truth. That aside, what was I feeling right now wasn't a fear of the unknown. It was a realistic, practical fear of something that could endanger my life.
今から一晩ここに入って鍵をかけて
It is Persona.
物音一つ
I
立て
mean,
ないで
she is there, so get in there, lock yourself in, stay the whole night, don't make a sound. That meant that outside lurked something dangerous that could hear sounds. Perhaps it was the so-called dead that rose up from the river. Or maybe assuming that I was right with my Saranaga sickness theory, it was people who came out and beat the shit out of the diseased who didn't follow the rules. The wolf is coming. Maybe the wolf was the title giving in to the killer. Suddenly, I heard a scream in the distance. Go out and look. Oh no, you idiot. You idiot. Don't do it. Why would you do that? But, however, we're not going to do that for now. We're going to call it there for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll leave it on a cliffhanger. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a good night.